welcome back. Now, Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, George Smith-Graham, has indicated the Commission is embarking on major reforms in the public sector to effectively monitor workers and link productivity to pay. Speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, Mr. Graham admitted the reforms should have taken place long ago before the implementation of the single spine pay policy.
People see the public service as a place where they have saved jobs and all that. Just because the systems we are referring to are not there. And if the systems are not there, how then do you sanction the person? What target did you give to the person from the beginning for you to come back and say you didn't even perform the target? Are you going to sanction the person because the person comes to the office and all you do is you ask the person to go and buy watch for me, go and buy cocoa for me, and go and buy, and you send the person one day and the person says, I won't go. So then insolence, I fired you. That is where the difficulty is. And if that is not there, and you even move from the lower example that I've given to the top, and you say somebody is not performing, when you've not given the person any target and a role to play, how then do you sanction the person? If you sanction somebody who's at the top there because the person has done or did not do one thing or the other, in our country today, politics will come into play. They will say that because the person belongs to one political party or the other, that's the reason why the person has been sanctioned. We made a mistake just bringing the pay reform without reforming the public sector. Reforming the public sector should have been the first thing. You reform any pay reform anywhere. You make sure things are right, the grading is right, people know their job content, they have their job descriptions, they have everything, and then you come and do this. Now you go and do a job evaluation on that same awkward system. It means that the inefficiencies in the public service, what you have translated onto the new structure. The person comes and says, I'm a driver. And why is that I'm on a lower grade than this person who is also a driver? But the evaluation showed that he's a driver, but he has no car. This person is a driver who is always on the road, going on a trek, and so the grade shows grade. You don't know, because we are all drivers, you have to be on the same level. You go and put them on the same level. You've disadvantaged this man who is always on the road working, and whilst he is sitting in the office with him without a vehicle.
An alleged armed robber has been killed and butchered at Kaswa Nyenyano in the central region. The man, believed to be in his mid-20s, is said to have been beaten up and subsequently butchered by some residents around 1 a.m. today. Let's now speak to an eyewitness, Richard Kofi Esa, who joins us now over the telephone. So, Richard, good morning. Thanks for joining us. What happened?
Yeah, my brother, today at exactly 7:30 a.m. this morning, I heard a criminal has been caught at Gomwa Nyenyano in the Gomwa East District, and he has been butchered. And upon my investigation, I got that he's around the age of 22, and his name is called Junior or Kobe. That's how they call him. But upon my investigation, I got to also know that they were in a group of six, of which after the hints came out, the 5 of them ran, and he was the only person being called. I went straight to the Gomwa police station, and I met only one personnel over there. The policeman told me that they don't have car and the personnel are not there, so the person should be bleeding and be there. When they get car, they are going to take the person to the hospital. I went back to the police station, and the same answer was given to me again. So by the time I came to where the scene was, I saw that the criminal has been taken to the hospital now. I'm at the hospital now, and I've seen 2 policemen over there. I went to them and I asked them, why is it that during the event they didn't come, and now the person has been taken to the police station? They are now there. They were saying that why is it that we were there and we saw the criminal being lynched over there, we did not take the person to the hospital, but rather we were waiting for them, the policemen, to come. This is what is going on at Gomwa right now.
I see. Richard, you tell me you are at the hospital currently. Is that the case?
Yeah, I'm at the hospital.
Okay. Have you by any chance seen any family member of this man who has been killed?
Yeah, I've seen the grandmother of the guy, but the grandmother is not in the mood to talk right now. I went to her at the scene, and the way she was behaving towards me, she said she's not ready to talk to any media person. So, and the entire family, those the grandmother came with them. They said they are not ready to talk to anybody. They are in seriously bad state now. So they said they are not ready to talk to me.
Okay. Richard, again, let's speak of this person who has been killed. This 22-year-old boy. You say his name is Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe or Junior.
Kobe or Junior. What have residents been telling you about him? What sort of person is he?
Yeah, I know him to be one of the criminals in the Gomonyano, but actually he traveled.
Is that what the residents are telling you, that he's a known criminal in the area?
Yeah, that's what they told me. They said last three days, he has gone to a certain woman around our chief, Nyanyano, the paramount chief's house. They went there, a woman around there. They went there to steal some provision store, and due to that, they decided to trace those who are doing that. So upon that, they got to catch this guy, and he has been lynched and butchered.
I see. So he's a thief and not really an armed robber.
No, he is with gadgets. He's with sharp gadgets, of which when he makes you, he can do whatever, anything he wants to do with you with that sharp gadget.
Okay, all right.
And he's holding a lot of master keys. He's holding a lot of master keys.
Okay, Richard, thank you very much for that update. Thank you. We really appreciate your time. So Richard is an eyewitness. He joined us over the telephone with some more on that particular. We're still trying to reach the police in the area, as in when we do have them, we'll bring them to you. Now, how do you feel about having to carry a lot of books to and from school? I mean, what about the many papers you have to keep and using papers for examinations? All these could be a thing of the past as technology company TAP develops an application to make education paperless. Some young people who took part in a roadshow for the app spoke about how different it would be to write exams without paper.
It is a busy moment for these pupils here. They are working on past examination questions, but this time there are no question papers. This is because they are answering the examination questions on tablets called Tap to Educate. An application is loaded on these tablets, which is used to load educational content like examination questions. Some of them have already finished answering the questions on these tablets. They share their experience about writing exams on a different medium.
Well, it's exciting. Today is my first time doing it, and I'm very happy doing it.
Here we normally use paper and pen, so we are addicted to that one. We know how to use that one, but this one, it's like something new, and we don't know much about it. So we wait for the people to show us what to do and stuff.
It's not that different, but just that writing on the paper, you are going to write with pen, and then on a tablet, you're just going to tap the answers you think is right.
Kweku Kwanzaa is the group head of Alchem Global Group, promoters of Tap to Educate. He says their aim is to make education paperless and exciting, especially for children.
And our goal is to target school kids using technology, finding out how technology can impact their learning. So the idea is to radically transform how students learn, in particular students in public schools, how they learn through technology. What we have done is we've put their curriculum, we've associated with partner content providers to give us content, educational content for learning. We invite corporate Ghana to buy into it as part of their CSR to public schools. We expect financial institutions to set up schemes where parents can walk into their institutions and buy these devices for their kids.
For some of these pupils, writing and doing examinations without bulky books and papers is a dream they want to realize.
It's something that will help us a lot, because as for the tablet, it's like a mobile phone. And most of us, we have mobile phones. We just sit down to take the mobile phone, tap the internet and start. But if you have the tablet and you have the answers like this on it and the questions on it, you sit down and you just be working it out. It's like you are typing or working, chatting with someone. So it's like it will help us in more learning than the paper and the things.
The questions that they bring is they have mistakes on it, or like some of the printings fade, so we don't see clearly and we have problems there. So using the tablet, I think things come clearly and we get the right words and understand what we are doing and do it well.
Some teachers who have seen how the application works are appealing to the Ghana Education Service to take up the Tap to Educate initiative.
Very, very fixed on that. If the GES adapt it in performing the BEC exams, I think it will do away with that kind of cheaty examination malpractices, and then children will be able to work with speed and finish on time as compared to the paperwork.
Now, the civil society platform on oil and gas is demanding full disclosure on the financial agreement to procure power barges from Turkey. The platform, made up of a coalition of civil society groups, also questions the truthfulness of President Mahama's claim during the May Day parade that the power crisis has nothing to do with money. The platform has issued a statement on the matter, and I'm joined by my colleague Fred Smith with more. So, Fred, so what's in this statement?
Well, the statement points to a report by the World Bank. It's titled "Energizing Economic Growth in Ghana, Making the Power and Petroleum Sectors Rise to the Challenge." In this, the World Bank attributes the current power crisis to the lack of public funds to buy fuel, if you like, to power the generators so we can have electricity. So the report actually states that funding, or the lack of it, has something to do with the power crisis that we're facing today.
So in effect,
you know, government has always denied that
indeed
it is a financial problem. But the World Bank in this report is saying that, well, financing has something to do with it, and therefore the forum is asking government to come out to fully disclose to us what the problem really is and what is involved in this car power deal to bring in power badges.
So they are essentially saying that the president is lying to us. Is that the case?
Well, they're not so sure about it, because the World Bank statement report is one. The statement from our government is another. So they want government to come out and clear the air on what's happening. It may be that the World Bank got it all wrong. It may also be that our government is lying.
I see. So what else does the statement speak of?
Well, they talked about visiting Turkey, car power badge, where the power badges are being constructed, and they got to know that even though in June 2014 we had reached an agreement to bring in the power badges, it was only in April, just last month, that the financial arrangements for that was concluded. And therefore, they're also they're saying that it's very curious that it's taking close to a year for the financing arrangements to be done, even though the agreement itself took place last year in June 2014. They want government to also come out clean on that as well.
Now, I'm reading here that they also want some full disclosure regarding the contracts. Is that the case?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've talked about.
Okay.
The power badges contract. The agreement was June 2014, but the financing for it was concluded in April 2015.
Okay, I was thinking they were looking at the contract length, for instance. Some have mentioned that, you know what, why going for a 10-year
well, the statement doesn't touch on that, but at least if we have the disclosure, the full disclosure on this, I'm sure all of these things will be made public. Already, you know, there are moves in Parliament to get the statement, the whole agreement to be scrutinized by Parliament, and therefore all of these are part of the process. And I'm sure if the government does the disclosure, or even if they present the deal to Parliament, it will end up in exposing some of these issues. If for 10 years we are creating a power badge that we may need for only 2 or 3 years whilst we resolve our power challenges.
see.
then it will be good.
Fred, thank you very much for that. Fred Smith is my colleague right here at Joy News. We're taking a break here. We'll be back with some more news. Stay with us.